Folks, here in the South, people love some Jesus and they love some Charlie Daniels. Even though they don't really go together that well. I mean, Charlie Daniels ain't singing the gospel. I mean, yeah, okay. The devil went down to Georgia. That might technically be a parable. That's an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. But it ain't gospel. No. It just ain't biblical. I don't remember no Georgia being in the Bible. Not Atlanta, Georgia. Not the Georgia over there in Russia. None of it. No. But it does work as a parable. So let's take a look at it. All right. First off, don't make a whole lot of sense. All right, it starts off, the devil went down to Georgia. Do what? Now, I realize Georgia's in the South, but it ain't so far south that it's underneath perdition. So no, that part don't make a whole lot of sense. We kind of got to read between the lines, figure out that he was already up here, probably somewhere around, I don't know, St. Louis, because he likes to hang out at the crossroads where he can meet all them blues musicians. So he probably was hanging out in St. Louis for a while, got frustrated because didn't know blues men come along for a long period of time. And Charlie Daniels himself does tell us that he was in the bags, he was way behind. So that it makes sense that he would have gone from there, I'd have gotten fed up with it, gone down to Georgia. That part makes sense, but you kind of got to read between the lines a bit. He got down there and saw this boy named Johnny. He just going at it on the fiddle. And he got excited because unlike them St. Louis blues men he normally deals with, he can't really hang with them. But the devil himself plays a little bit of fiddle, so he might just stand a chance. And remember, kids, the devil's fiddle playing skills confirm that bluegrass, not rock and roll, bluegrass is the devil's music. So they decide to get into it. And the devil goes first. And I'm hoping this ain't too terribly sacrilegious to say, but the band of demons, they pretty good. They laying down a tasty little groove and all before the devil jumps in and jacks it all up. Then it becomes Johnny's turn to whoop the devil butt good. Now at this point in the story, it becomes very unclear what defeated the devil. Was it Johnny's masterful fiddle playing? Or was it the fact that he began to speak in tongues? I declare he did. He was clearly speaking in tongues. That's why nothing he said made any sense. Fire on the mountain, run boy run. What part of Georgia are they in? Did it say? I mean, I know there's mountains in Georgia, but they is clearly not in the mountainous part of the state, because if they was, devil could have got up on the mountain tile. He didn't have to get up on no hickory stump. So that right there don't make no sense. Plus, the mountain is on fire. Run, boy, run. Put your fiddle down and get out of here. Get to safety. But ain't it California that's always on fire? Not Georgia. Johnny continues. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Is he? I mean, really? Because the song is The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And as we know, the house of the rising sun is a house of ill repute down in New Orleans. Y'all remember that really annoying song that told us about that? There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. And the song is so annoying. Please tell me when it's done. Or maybe it was the land of the rising sun. I'd have to go back and listen to it again. But it can't be the land of the rising sun, because that's Japan. Now, like I said, I've heard of Russia having a Georgia, but I ain't never heard of one being in Japan. Johnny continues, and this is the part where the speaking in tongue gets extra riled up. Chicken in the bread pan picking out dough. Granny, does your dog bite? No, child, no. Do what now? That is some rambling, nonsensical meandering right there. That has got to be speaking in tongues. It winds up being left to the listener to discern whether somebody has got some chicken and they're breading it up to fry it, or whether there's some kind of trained chicken that's all up in the bread pan, and he's trying to select what dough to use to make the homemade biscuits. And then you start worrying about Granny's dog. You know, Granny, does your dog bite? It's bad enough you got a chicken clucking around in there. Now you got dogs in there as well. And if you do not know if your granny's dog bites, it stands to reason maybe you don't visit Granny enough, I declare. So let's recap. Run, boy, 'cause the mountain's on fire, even though we clearly ain't in the mountains. The devil is in a house ill repute in Nolans, even though he is standing right here before you listening to this. There is a chicken in the kitchen that could be dead or alive, and Granny's dog don't know you 'cause you don't come visit enough. That about it? I declare that is definitely speaking in tongues, because does that sound like a lucid paragraph to you? Whether it is the master fiddle playing or the speaking in tongues that done the trick, but the devil has done been whooped and he's about to head out. But what you don't see is that the song is abridged. It don't tell you what actually happens next. Because what happened next was, Steve Martin, he played banjo. He was coming around the corner because him and Johnny were going to jam, and he saw the whole thing. He saw what happened. Then he turns and wants to get in on it. He's like, "Hey, devil, you wants to duel me on the banjo?" At this point, Johnny gets all kind of upset. "Boy, what in the blue blazes is you doing? Why are you going to try to battle the devil on the banjo?" And Steve just says, "Well, I'm a wild and crazy guy. Besides, this is the South, and I kind of thought dueling banjos was what y'all did." So, anyway, that keeps the devil from leading because he thinks he's getting ready to get a do-over. But then that's why in the song you hear Johnny start playing the fiddle and speaking in tongues for the second time, because that's how you finally get rid of the devil. Because Steve Martin messed it up. So you see, it ain't gospel, but it does make for a pretty good parable. It's for dang sure an earthly story, and the heavenly meaning is that bluegrass is the devil's music. I declare.